Ini! Alles klar?
Ja, soweit bei dir?
Ich bin fit. Ich bin auch richtig gespannt auf die heutige Folge.
Ja, ich auch.
Ja. It's again a special YouTube edition.
It's strange how to switch from German into English like
this, right? Yeah.
Your German's really good.
Yeah. Thank you.
And the reason why we switched to English is...
Mach laut, dreh auf, der K-Pod ist wieder da. Mach Like, mach Abo, Inni und Song sind jetzt am Start. Wir reden die Welt.
Yes, we have a
special guest.
Yeah.
And the guest name is...
Jungle!
Yay!
Hello!
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
So we start right away. Every guest in our show has 10 seconds to introduce, for introduction. And yours are starting now.
I'm Jungle, and I was born in Korea, and I'm just exploring who I am in the sea of different culture.
Nice.
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
So let's start with your name, Jungle. How did you come up with that name?
Actually came from my previous job. We just didn't want to give too much of hierarchy in the company culture. So we decided to take the name from the product. So the name that I really wanted was really cute. I was very young, so it was really cute, but it was all taken. So I was looking for what suits me. Mm-hmm. And then one person said, like, how about Jungle? And there was another girl saying, oh, that sounds a bit masculine for me.
Yeah.
I guess she was thinking about Tarzan or whatever.
Okay.
And I didn't like the way she said, like, oh, that's too masculine for you. So I was like, I'm going to take that name.
Okay, that's great.
And then I started thinking of the name, and it's actually like jungle is where we live in, like whether you're living in the city or countryside or in the jungle, we're like surviving and hassling. But also like the idea of Mother Nature really,
yes,
I really love that idea. Yeah. So it's been my name for the last like 2 decades.
Oh, wow.
2 decades already. Wow. Okay. Nice. I mean, it's actually a name that you cannot forget, to be honest, because it's jungle, you know.
Thank you. But also like that sometimes brings me inconvenience because I'm really bad with names. But everyone remember it so easily.
Yeah.
So I don't remember their name and they remember my name, so I feel bad about it. It's also funny, like sometimes people ask me like, what's your real name?
Real name.
I'm like, what is real name? Also, I find it very interesting because, you know, I'm trans. I think more about my identity and myself and like what is the gender or like who are we in this society. I discovered the name is something that is ours, but we didn't come up with.
That's true.
And the gender is the same thing.
Yeah.
It's my gender, but I didn't get to choose. So I find very interesting similarity between gender and name. And
that's a pretty interesting thought, actually.
Yeah. I never thought about
me
this
too.
way.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Right.
You can never influence it because you're a baby. It's the same thing with religion, actually. Also, you're born into a religion, and later you can choose if you want to follow that religion or just change or whatever. Yeah,
but usually for names and gender, it's too late actually, because everybody knows you by your name and by your gender actually. So it's difficult to change it actually.
I think also we can change it. Like I transitioned.
Yes.
But also like it is very you have to go through a lot in order to change the perception of your gender and your name to other people. It takes time. And also, I think people get intimidated and people get scared as if we are going to destroy the concept of the society or gender or whatever. But, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. We all go through in life in different phases and we get to learn and realize and discover.
Yes.
And through that time, we discover our job, what we want to do, or like me as a person, the personality or character. People like us, people like me, get to discover who they are with their gender. Like, oh, I'm in this way, I'm that way, and there is some discomfort in it. So then we get to work on it. We get to think about it. We educate ourselves, and like we find out what we are. So what was I trying to say?
So then let me ask, how old were you as you discovered, like, I'm not the born gender?
When did you discover that you are having the same gender as you were born, assigned at birth?
I think I was, I actually don't know, never thought about it really, but I was like, I think it was the age when I first discovered my sexuality, 12 or something. I discovered changes in my body, actually. I was like 12, 13, something like that.
I think gender identity is more complex than discovering your sexuality. Most of us start thinking about it or developing the idea around puberty, I think.
Yes.
Because before, there's not much of conversation. Like your parents may dress you in blue or pink, but then it doesn't really define who you are. There are certain expectations as you grow up. Like people comment on like, oh, you're not really masculine, you're not really feminine. Then you get to think like, oh, like it's the idea that I never had before. But then like, does it work for me? Does it not work for me? So then you discover, I feel like at the age of before elementary school, I kind of knew. It's the concept that never was asked. I didn't really get to dive into it and discover myself, but I had a vague idea that like, oh, I think I'm different. It's not like, people often get confused that gender and sexuality are somewhat same thing. It's totally different thing. Like gender is defining who you are, and sexuality is like who you're attracted to. I mean, there are so many terms nowadays. You can be a trans woman and be attracted to another woman. I think I realized it pretty early, but I didn't know what it was. The first thing that I can remember, I had a boyfriend when I was 13, 14. And then I didn't know anything about the gender or sexuality. He just really bothered me a lot. And I thought he was annoying. I thought he just was bullying me.
Okay.
But then it was his way of showing interest. And then we ended up being together at some point. And then he mentioned something like, oh, I'm gonna make a lot of money and get you the surgery and we can get married and live together. And I was like, oh, like how, like what?
Okay.
Because I didn't know any of it. I guess that was the moment I realized, oh, maybe it's something that I can choose. And live in it.
So he was older than you?
No, we were same age.
Same age, but he was kind of more advanced.
I don't know where it came from, but then he had an idea. And I mean, also, on the television, there are some like news or documentary about like those weird people. I think he got that idea from that. But I actually had no idea what that was about.
2001, there was this one celebrity in Korea who was actually trans, right?
So like that was the first moment in Korean history a trans person was recognized, not in a negative way or like. I mean, I have different opinion like about her. Her name is Harisu. And I respect her. And she paved a way in certain ways, and I'm grateful for her. Back then, it was the first thing that came up, and people were stunned by her beauty. Which is reasonable. She's so beautiful. But then, like, all of a sudden, it became about passing how beautiful you are. If you're so beautiful to be a woman, then that's okay. I personally believe that we should be able to live as who we are. And if you want the surgery, if you want to work on your face or body, then that's totally fine. It's your choice, your body. But if the society is pushing a group of people in certain way and they are pressured or forced to change their body and change their face into certain aspect, then I disagree to that.
Yes.
So her appearance back in early 2000 was phenomenal, but at the same time there was some side effect as well. Early 2000, there was also another person. His name is 홍석천.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Who got cancelled actually from 남자셋 여자셋, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So like there were two figure who was gay and who was trans, and how they were perceived was so interesting. There was a lot of biased idea regarding 홍석천 because man was supposed to be this way and that way, and his character in the show was like a bit feminine and exaggerated.
Yes.
And people enjoyed it. But when people found out he actually is gay, then they were canceling him.
Yes.
These two significant figures impacted so much, and after 2 decades it's still somewhat similar level.
So nothing has changed much. That's what you want to say.
That's how I feel personally. Yeah. The world is changing. The idea of everything we believe are constantly changing, slowly but steadily.
Yeah.
But I feel like Korean society is so stubborn in some ways.
Yes.
Like they are like eager to pursue what's the next best thing. They go for the future, but certain areas they don't want to compromise. They don't want to pay attention. So
that's what I feel too. They don't want to change the core actually, but they still want to be like fast forward and futuristic and
you cannot really cherry pick and choose. And you have to be open and flexible. You don't have to understand everything because there's no way we can understand everything. But then don't act like you know everything and just be stubborn about it. Because like whether you agree or not, people exist and they have their life. And we're not doing any harm. Like we just want to be us.
Also, the two examples that you just mentioned actually kind of reflects the biased society in Korea, because the one thing for some reason is being absolutely respected and cherished in a way, and the other one is just being cancelled.
Yes.
And just out of different perceptions of beauty and strange or something, you know, like it's they cannot handle someone being gay, but they can handle someone
being beautiful.
Don't get me wrong, like when Hadisu came out, people were like surprised and shocked and they were cherishing her, but at the same time people started making fun of her. Like there were a lot of jokes about it, and growing up it just felt so unfair. And like it also reflects a lot of like how Korea is like if so feminism here is very underappreciated, I feel like when that idea came in Korea, a lot of feminist women were like finally feeling allowed to talk about their rights.
Yes.
But then a lot of male or even women who are comfortable in this system didn't want to talk about it, and they got offended. So even the word feminism or feminist here is like very, very strongly rejected. It's almost like instantly making the scene and like making the arguments, which it shouldn't be that way. The reason I'm bringing this up is that a lot of feminists here, TERF is people who are against the idea of trans people. TERFs here think that trans people are bringing back to the time before they made progress for women's right. But I think initially it's the same conversation. I feel like I was mentioning about Hadisu, like it's not really about how they look. It's not about how beautiful you are. But also here in Korea, if woman is like a bit masculine, if woman is not as pretty as the conventional idea here, then they almost don't consider them as women. It's just weird. Like it's all about like look and like behaving in certain way to be a woman, and men as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I have the feeling that Korean society is a little bit superficial, like all these looks and stuff, right?
Okay, of course, I knew that society is about beauty and looks and superficial kind of, but I didn't know that that really is like you just mentioned. If there's a woman who does not fit the ideal beauty or sense of beauty of the society, is not being considered,
or the behavior too,
or the behavior,
like their characters. Like even as a kid, we get to be told that that's not women like, that's not men like, and then like it's deeply rooted in our mind. So like we kind of like very easily and quickly judge.
Yes.
We instantly analyze.
Yeah.
I think it also came from the like a lot of like wars in Korea and like the colonization and like Korean War as well. Like we had to be always like alerted and like find out what's the issue and what is that. Like if we quickly analyze it. So I feel like that part of culture came from our history.
I mean, Korean society, right, is they, as you said, is pretty superficial. They're really quick to judge, and I've heard a lot of like things. If you don't fit the normal standards, it's pretty easy to get hurt by other people, by words actually, because they just firing, saying like, oh, 그러니까 살쪘지, like, you know, 그러니까 못생겼지, like these kind of things. They just spit it out. Like
I think it also comes from like different intention and different perspective. Like it's not always trying to just attack someone and make them feel shitty. Many of them has no they're not acknowledging what they're saying and how could it sound like.
Yes. But I have the feeling if I would have like grown up in Korea, I would have like so many complexes actually, because I'm also not in the standard. You yeah. No. I mean, this was actually my next question. Like we talked a little bit like now about the society in Korea, and how was it for you to grow up actually in Korea, like in this conservative country?
It's I don't know. It was not really easy for me. It's something I found out later in my life, but before I realized what happened in my life, I only knew my life. So I didn't really have anything to compare to. I think I realized who I was at a very young age, and in some ways I dissociated myself from like others' perspective or whatever. I just kind of knew that I have to be myself and on my own. So I was always a fighter mode. When I don't get it, then I had to ask about it. When I have an objection, then like I have to just speak out. That was a little bit of excessive stress, but I think it also made me a strong person. So it wasn't easy, but then also like it was an interesting challenge for me. We have a saying in Korea, 모난 돌이 정 맞는다. If the stone is not in a right shape, if it has like different shapes, then like you get hammered to shape in certain ways. So if you stand out, people are gonna like trying to just like make you be in the box to fit in. I gave up on that expectation at a very young age because I knew that I was different, so I never really tried to fit in. Like
rebellious.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. And I'm quite stubborn too. Like if you convince me that then I will do, but like without that part, then like you cannot move me.
Okay. You said you found out at a certain age that you're different. But did you go through the classical education system in Korea? So you went to university.
I left uni after 1 semester.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then you worked in a corporate business, or
I had 10 years of experience
in corporate business.
Yeah. Although it was British company, so it was a little different, but still Korean company.
Yeah.
I think I always was conscious about like what I can do in this culture. For example, I wanted to have freedom with my hair and how I dress. It was kind of unnegotiable.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with my ability to get things done.
Yeah.
And who I am has nothing to do with the job. So I think even if they pay me less, I think I always chose where I can be myself. And that like corporation experience for 10 years was also like that, I think.
But did you experience certain boundaries while applying for jobs? Because I mean, you applied for jobs the classical way, I guess, and then you showed up for an interview.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you showed up to the interview, if you were dressed like a woman or if you by that time already?
So the first time I got that job, I was still trying to figure out. And then after about a year later, I got on my HRT. Before I had any issues at the job, my family found that out. So I was confronted by 10 of my families for hours, and they were all saying I was wrong.
Yeah.
And half of them were from my biological mom's family, and I've never met them before.
Oh, what?
A total stranger, and my family was like putting me in the room and saying that I am wrong. I cannot do this.
And you have never seen them before?
No. So like it all happened in a funny way. Like when I was 20 or 21, my family was getting divorced. This is big part of the reason why I'm not in touch with my dad. They were getting divorced with the money and like all the situation they were going through, and he was always violent. So like I was like rooting for my mom to get divorced. My father then realized that there's no one on his side. So one night he called me and said like, the mom you think your mom is not your mom. You have a biological mom.
Oh.
And then like he was saying, you should go to Seoul station on this day, this time, and she will be there. And I was like, no, I'm not going to go and meet her. But then like something in me brought me there, and I was already there, and I met her. And then we spent a week together for the first time in my life. We spent a week together, and then she started feeling like I'm not the son figure that she had in her mind. So she was like questioning about it. And then like one night she just was asking me a few things, and then I told her yes. She just bursted into tears, and like I had to just like calm her down and slept. And by the time I woke up, she was like there looking at me and said like, you cannot go anywhere, all the family is coming to Seoul. So there was a confrontation.
So sorry, you met your mom a week, and then you told her, and then she bursted into tears, and then she was holding you in the room.
She already called everyone.
Wow. Yeah.
What?
And then she put you on the spot.
Yeah.
And everybody was surrounding you and talking to you that you were wrong.
Yeah.
And you should change or not change. Yeah.
But like you're doing totally wrong, and that's not acceptable from family and from the society. and also like a lot of insults about how I look. Like I didn't, so like that's another thing. Like from first transition, second transition was like 3.5 years ago. Both times I just wanted to be myself.
Yes.
Before I figure out who I was and like how I want to live, the conversation that I had with other people were all about how I look, whether it's as an encouragement or whether as an insult. Like it just all came back to how I look, and I'm not good enough to be a woman because I look this way, because I'm big and tall and whatever. So like that really got me an idea of like I'm not enough to be what I want to be. But then also, like I was saying, like I'm quite a rebel. So like I just didn't want to give in. I mean, maybe in the future I might change my mind. I want to be myself. I don't want to change my face. I don't want to change like something that does not really feel like me. So I just try to live as who I am as much as I can.
Yes.
So that I can also have the right to deliver this message, like just be who you are. It's okay.
But can you explain what is meant by first and second transition?
When it comes to the word transition, like it involves a lot of different ideas. What people can think about first is a medical transition. So medical transition involves like facial feminization surgery or like breast surgery or like bottom surgery, like all sort of like what you can get from medical situation. And another thing that people are often forgetting about is your social transition, announcing that you are trans and letting people know around you that you're trans and living as a trans person, accepting yourself and living as who you are. I think it has a lot to work on with people around your society. Like a lot of us are scared to go out of the house as who they are. So they want to be in some sort of costume.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, I think it's a costume. Like, do you know RuPaul?
No.
RuPaul is
I do.
He's a drag queen.
Yes.
He's a drag queen from like 80s.
Yeah, he has a show.
He has a show
on Netflix too.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's like nearly like 20 seasons now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe like over 15. There is a lot of controversy about what he said or what he done, but he said something like, "We're all born naked and everything else is drag."
Okay.
So you're in male drag, whatever like we are is like a construction of who we identify ourselves, and we play the role. When we are given certain gender and we have been living in a certain way based on that gender, then when you're trying to get out of it, it's tough. So that's like social transition, I feel like. So when I was saying the first transition and second transition is that first transition was when I met my biological mom and harassed by the member of the family, and I gave up on it.
Okay.
I tried to be normal, which was not quite normal. I don't even know what's normal, but I gave up on it, and around that time I lost all the ambitions and motivations and what I want to do in life. So I was kind of killing time. Just keep suppressing myself, not to be authentically who I am, and avoiding the conversation, kind of avoiding like any sort of femininity in me. And then like slowly, I realized that it's not gonna work. Like, so I was just like experimenting different things, and after 10 years I left the job because I was like, I don't want to die like this. So I left the job and moved to Paris recklessly, and then I was broke, so I came back, and then I started drag. So doing drag was really interesting time for me, and I'm really, really grateful that I did, although it didn't make any money and it was really tough, underappreciated type of art. I feel like now it's a little better, but still like it's not really respected here. Yeah, it was great opportunity for me to get involved with different activists in like LGBTQ community and get to meet people and expand the idea that I have and have better knowledge in Korea, LGBTQ culture in Korea, and have my own opinion about it. And then I realized while doing drag, because you know, like drag is playing a different gender role. Since I was born as a boy, I was a drag queen. You know, there are also like drag kings and like...
Yes.
Oh, see? It's something I didn't know.
Yeah, there are drag kings and like bio queen, or like there's so many different things coming up, like the terms that we're learning all together.
Okay.
Women playing a male role, then it's the drag king. Men playing women's role and then drag queen. But then also trans people are still doing the drag, like trans women doing drag queen, or like cisgender woman doing drag queen, like as a form of performance or like the looks. I think I usually get interested in stories and the characters. So when I was doing drag, I was mostly like figuring out the characters and the stories and express it visually and choose the right song that goes with the story. And that was what I was doing. And then while I was doing that, I just started having the idea like, what is to be a woman? At some point, I wanted to be a woman. I thought I was a woman, and I'm not living as a woman. I'm a boy. I'm a male. Like, what is this? Like, all this concept kind of was like destructed. If I were gonna end this life at some point, I want to live authentically myself. I should give it a go. So I thought about it for a couple of years, and then I get back my hormone again. So the first one, I had like a couple months of HRT, estrogen. The first time I just didn't tell people. I just did it myself secretly. The mom was the second person I told that I'm trans. And the second time, I just openly talk about it, and and I am here now.
Yeah, I can only imagine how big of a struggle your journey has been and most likely still is. Yeah, or not. I mean, I don't know how to put it. I mean, you don't have to, but it's somehow, it is the situation that you need to convince people at some point that you are a woman or a trans woman, which is not your obligation or your job to do. But I feel that you are forced sometimes to the need of convincing people, which must be so annoying, so frustrating.
Thank you for the comments and the empathy that you have. I'm not really trying to convince anyone. I think I gave up on that early age. I can convince someone, but then like intentionally, forcefully convincing someone is impossible. That's what I realized. And I don't care if someone doesn't see me as a woman. It's okay.
Which is the healthy way to look at things.
That's what I wanted to say. Like, I would never care about anybody's opinion. Actually, if I would be in your situation, I'm like, for myself, if anybody is not in my opinion, I usually don't care.
Sometimes it bothers me because I see their intention. It's so annoying if they are saying something to hurt me or like to get into my head and like just shake it. But the real problem here is not how people see me or like convincing people. Real problem here is that trans people don't really get a job opportunity. Like, you need to make your living. But then like you don't even get a chance to prove yourself that you're capable of doing something because you're different. I think it's really unfair. Why can't we have an opportunity to get a job? And then like we're pushed aside to the society and we don't have many options. And then pointing their fingers at trans people that they're sex workers, they're doing this, they're doing that. Like, that's so unfair. I think that's bigger problem than like people see me as a woman or not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But out of curiosity, because you were born a boy, so you got a Korean ID, 주민 등록번호, right? So starting with a 1.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And now?
Still same.
Still the same.
So in order, you're not acknowledged from the country.
No. So I have a few things to talk about this. At first, I wanted to change, but then I realized it requires the bottom surgery. You have to sort of like battle yourself to get number 2. But then recently, even if you are done with the surgery, like there's a few steps to go through. But then recently there were cases that people are acknowledged as a gender. They feel like who they are. I'm so careful with like those words.
Don't be
not
careful.
To make mistakes. But then like so some of my friends who didn't have the bottom surgery, they got the number changed. So now like we're slowly evolving, like the society is sort of like catching up with what's happening. But then like I started having this idea like, do I want to change the number from 1 to 2? If there's number 3, I would.
Oh. Okay.
But then like I'm not trying to be number 2. I'm not trying to fit myself into the society, a social norm. So I'm still thinking about it. But also because of that, sometimes there are inconveniences. For example, like I don't really get to show my ID with people. People might think I'm gay or trans or woman or man. Like I don't really know. And I don't care too much about it. But then when it comes to a point where I have to show my ID, then I get to just encounter unpleasant experience. I started transitioning during COVID. As the COVID slowly like fading away, I had a business trip to Paris. And then that was the first time I traveled abroad after transitioning. You know, before you go through the security, they were yelling to the people on the other side of the security machine. And I didn't know what was going on because that never happened to me before. And I didn't really think about it, but I thought it was weird. But then the second time, same thing happened. And the third time, that person was looking at me dirty. And I was like, this is weird and something doesn't really feel right. And I paid more attention and I realized that they were looking at my passport and yelling to the other side, number 1.
Wow. Okay. They said like 일본 or what?
Yeah. 일본. It was very upsetting at first because I felt like they were not really respecting me. Anyways, but the main reason why they did that is
for the body search.
No. For women to search women's body and for men to search men's body. I get that.
Okay.
But then again, like it's a body search. Why does it have to be gendered?
They could have asked you just like, hey, right? It's like how you approach humans. Like it's not like Ibon. It's like, hey, I don't know. What do you prefer? Like you can.
Actually, it doesn't even need like any women can be searched by men. Any man can be searched by women because it's not harassing them. It's not really sexual or anything. It's just like doing their job.
Yes.
Just to begin with. But then if they decide to do, then like it's to protect people. It's to make people feel safer. But then your intention is that, and I'm hurt. it's unfair.
That's true.
So the moment I realized they were yelling number 1 and the person was looking at me dirty, and then went through the machine and the man came up to me and I was like, I'm trans. I don't want you.
You said that?
Yeah.
Oh.
I want women to come.
Yeah.
So women came and very awkwardly like did the body search.
Okay.
Searching for nothing.
Yeah. Okay. You know, in Korea, it's weird that you separate like in the number, in the register number by 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Male and female. I never thought about this, but they put you in categories actually. In Germany, you don't, right?
Yes, you do. You have M and F, male, female.
Yeah, but
on passport.
Yeah, okay, on passport, but you don't have like a registered number that starts with 1.
Oh, I don't know actually.
Okay,
I never questioned that, to be honest.
But you know, these days in Germany, if you get a formula from whatever institute or whatever, you have male, female, and gender neutral actually right now. Like you can.
I'll take that.
I think a lot of people are checking gender neutral. In Korea, I think we're far away from that, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Korea, from school, when I have a question, I raised my hand.
Yes.
And asked. And then not only the students, but also teachers hated the fact that I have a question.
Oh.
What?
So you're not allowed to be standing out.
What?
So like this is deeply rooted in culture. Like you have to figure out on your own. Like don't stand out. Don't like. People also think that like you're trying to just like. You only have a question, but then like they think that like you have different intention behind it. Anyways, like for whatever reasons, it's not really welcoming to ask questions.
Yes.
But then also like whenever I discovered something and I had thought about it and then like shared with people, but then the reaction I get is like as if I'm making huge fuss out of nothing. Like I don't feel like minor opinions are respected or valued here. You just need to sort of sacrifice your opinion or the way you live in order to make peace, and everyone's sacrificing their own way. So like, why do you make a noise out of nothing?
Why you want to stand out? Yeah. But you know, this is also, I think we had this topic also. We were comparing Germany and Korea, and we feel that in Germany, individualism is normal, and in Korea it's actually the opposite. So everybody has to swim in the same direction. If there's someone who swims against the current, then everybody's like, they have an error in their head. What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah,
it's almost like I also want to be free, but then I am going through the same direction. How dare you break the rules and like go against it?
Yes, exactly.
And that's, and then even it's even harder for you to be who you are in a society like that. It's even, I mean, trans people in Germany, I think, also don't have it easy. They also have a hard life. But comparing it to Korean society, I think it's a lot harder in Korea to be yourself.
Now I came to a point where I feel like rather than finding the place that I don't feel alienated, then I just try to make change here as much as I can. Because like problem exists everywhere. And I mean, the freedom that I had out of Korea was amazing. Like there was no expectation. There was no pressure to be who I am. So I felt great. It was the first time I didn't feel like I was judged for certain things. But then here, I always had these certain expectations and pressure. So I hated it and I tried to leave a few times. But then now I have both experience and I'm realizing if everyone leave, who's going to change it?
Oh, okay.
That's true, and that's right.
I read an article about you. It was from the Vogue magazine. was talking about you're being a musician, DJ musician, you being a model, and you being an activist.
I find that word a bit like too much because there are people who are dedicating their life for the change. And I feel like I'm doing not as much as they do. So I feel a little guilty and bad when I am called as an activist. But yeah, I think even just living as authentically who you are, and if you're a member of LGBTQ community, then I think they are activists. Like the most important thing is like to be authentically who you are and like letting people to see and experiencing there are different people. There are like the social norm that you already had needs to be adjusted.
What do you specifically do for? Because when I come back to Vogue magazine, they were describing that you created a festival.
I call it party.
Okay, party. Yeah.
I just wanted to have a space where people can freely come and meet people.
Yeah.
More focusing on trans community. There are gay bars, lesbian bars, and they have their own community. But as I started my second transition, I realized I don't really have any trans friends. And I also don't get to see trans people in a daily life. I just wanted to get to... You okay?
Sorry.
I just wanted to get to meet people and see how they are.
Yeah.
Wanted to have a conversation about what they do, what their struggle is, and just wanted to get to know a little more. Because
you wanted them to come out and show themselves, right? Isn't it?
I just wanted to meet them, but you could also put it in that way.
Yeah,
have an exchange with them.
Yeah. Because I was doing drag and like I was also organizing some parties, so like I thought, people come for parties because they all want to have a good time. So I started this party called Transparent. The idea came from I want to be transparent. I want to live transparent. I have nothing to hide. I'm just myself, but also transparent. Like trans people are often in a situation where they don't get support from parents. So they parenting each other or they're parenting themselves. I wanted to have a place where people take care of each other, parenting each other, and having a new idea of what's family. To me, the word family is like my favorite food that I never tried before. I've heard about it. I looked on internet and I know the recipe. I know what's in there. I know where it came from, but I never tried. So I don't really know how to define family or my idea about family. But one thing that I know is that we're all learning together, especially in Korea. I think that we learn from elders, a teacher, but in a real life, we learn from everybody. Parenting is not just providing food and a place to stay. Parenting is also learning from each other and being vulnerable and embracing each other and accepting each other. That's like what parenting is to me. I don't know, like I started with the idea that I want to meet trans people here in Korea, and I actually met great people here, but the more I do, I don't know like what to do about it. I kind of feel lost because at some point like party got really big because it's not only for trans people, it's for anyone who's supporting trans community. At some point it just got bigger and bigger. By the way, Oh-hyun has been designing the poster for us.
He was like, yesterday with us on the podcast.
He just I'm so grateful that he works on it and he's been doing great, and like, you know, the presentation is very important here, so he does great poster and like visuals, so that also helped to build the identity of the party. And then at some point it got really big. there were so many people. I was quite surprised, but then I started having this anxiety, like, what if there's less people next time? Like, if it kind of slowly fades away, like, I don't know what to do. Like, are there like more trans presentation that I can deliver or introduce? Like, then I have to go out and meet people, but I'm also quite introvert, so I love to spend,
you are
I love to spend time at home alone, and like, it's just, that's where I feel comfortable. So like, I have to force myself to go out and meet people and like discover whatever, but then I don't, because I didn't really plan to make it big or cool. It just came from an idea, like, I just want to meet other trans people. So I'm like learning and trying to figure out what's next thing.
You see that there's something bigger actually than a party, just a party, you know. It's evolving,
out of the party.
Yeah.
And is it something, the transparent party, is it something that's still ongoing?
Yeah. So the party actually started on the day of on Transgender Day of Visibility. Oh, is it right? Transgender Day of Visibility, which is like March 31st. So like, that was the first time. For the second time, we had party and exhibition on the same space, and that's when Vogue US actually reached out to me, and like, they reported some of the moments there, and then like another media. So like, people just like started coming more and more. And that was the point I was like, oh, like, what am I doing? Am I doing it right? Like, I got a bit worried and anxious.
Yeah.
But also at that point, I was a bit worried, like, what was the purpose of this event? Like, this was supposed to be about trans people. I mean, I'm open to anyone because they need to see people. They need to meet trans people. Like, I wanted to meet trans people. They need to meet them and realize that there are just people. But then also, like, I wanted to focus more on trans community, and like, but also like, I don't know what to provide. And recently I just told myself, I don't have to make something magnificent out of this. Like, just keep doing and giving them space to come and meet. There's so much obligation and suppression and responsibilities without discovering who you are. So I think people here are eager to discover who they are, especially younger generations, which I feel like there is a hope. So yeah, like, let's be a little kinder and let's be a little generous, so that people don't need to move from Korea to Berlin to find the freedom. You should be able to find the freedom here.
Yeah. Let's learn from each other.
Yes.
As you said.
Yes.
I think it was a great session with you, and a lot of insights, a lot of information. I think we learned a lot.
We learned so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you for your time, and thank you for being a guest of ours. And I'm really, really glad that I met you, and I'm really glad. I hope that I can call you a friend from today on. and whenever I'm in Korea, I would love to meet you.
Yeah. Likewise. Yeah.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Hans
much.
and Ini.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every guest has the honor to name the episode.
Oh. I didn't think about it. I'm like, I don't know.
or we can also just call it transparent.
Can I come up with something else?
Yeah, sure.
If jungle can do it, you can do it.
Oh, that's great. That's even better, actually. Yeah, nice. That's great. Jungle, thank you so much that you came here and shared a lot of stories with us.
It's my pleasure, really.
Thank you so much again.
And next time we come to Korea, or maybe your way sometime leads yourself to Germany, we can also make a part 2.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Thank you. So let's clap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.